It's your boy DJ Hoffa, the man with the keys to the city. We on episode 3 of Faces of 518 podcast. I'm here with my lovely host, America Ray.
Hi, everyone.
We got my boy in the building.
Hey, what's going on?
A guy I've known for a minute. This guy is an entrepreneur, barber, musician. He's in the real estate heavy. The only guy I know pushing a Bentley around the city. Shout out to my man, Jay Allen.
What's going on?
Is in the building right now. What's up, Jay?
How are you? What's going on?
I'm chilling, man. I can't be better. Yeah, I brought you here. Not only are you one of my personal barbers, but yourself and the businesses that you own you've been a staple in the community of Albany for a long time. Co-owner of Bricks Barbershop, and now you got your own establishment, J. Allen Barbershop. Tell me, what got you into becoming a businessman? Because a lot of people I know just stay barbers forever.
Well, when I first, started, do you want to know about me being a barber, or do you want me to know about me being a businessman? Because there's a difference. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are gifted with cutting hair, and then as far as the business of barbering, I got into it kind of by accident, bro. I was, I started at True Images with a gentleman by the name of John Wafer. That's 262 Washington Ave by the park. And he was my barber and a good friend of mine. And, I used to go in there, get my hair cut, and he had just opened True Images probably maybe 6 to 8 months before that. And I seen the chair next to him being empty. There was a gentleman there before, and then, the chair was empty. And I always played around with clippers and whatnot. There was times where, my father had cut my hair, and then there was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Mike Owens, that cut my hair when I was younger. And there's times where, a young kid don't have the money to go and get haircuts. So, at the time when I was younger, hey, I experimented and started trying to cut my own, and then I started cutting kids in school, and the rest was history. So I was the, kitchen barber for a while, and, didn't take it really serious. And so John, gave me an opportunity, being young and thinking that you know a lot of different things. And, he gave me a great opportunity and taught me the business side of barbering, cutting hair per se. And that just opened the doors and opened my mind to so many other different things as far as entrepreneurship. And, when you're dealing with the world that we live in, and seeing that, being a young black man, we don't really realize and tap into, the gifts that we have until, later down the line, when we realize how much of an asset we are and what we can bring to this world. And that's what I started assuming and realizing, that, hey, there's more to life than just a 9 to 5. I appreciate what God has given me as far as, gaining the knowledge and the talent to become a great entrepreneur. And I'm still growing. And there's a lot that I have to learn, and I will learn. COVID definitely slowed a lot of things down.
I bet.
But what it allows us to do.
It slowed me down. I was woofing for 3 months, man. Yeah.
It slowed me down and slowed a lot of us down to realize, how, there's some things that maybe we needed to change in our life, to show a level of humility and, realize, we're put on the earth more than just to, do the hustle and bustle and, just spinning tires per se. So, I've been in the industry for about 23 years. I've owned J. Allen for 6. I've been, I've been in the area, and I know quite a few people. And like I said, it barbering has been good and has opened a lot of doors for me to, do other businesses. I've tried other different businesses. Real estate obviously is probably the strongest business, especially nowadays, to get into. And still learning on that. So
I also see that you guys, like, a lot of the barbers under you have now started to gain the mentality of starting to own their own businesses. Do you think that's something that you rubbed off on those guys?
well, one of my partners said, "Hey, bro, you started all this, barbering pandon panamanium as
Hmm.
far as everybody wants to cut, everybody wants to be a entrepreneur." I said I didn't start that. It's just, hey, I just wanted to show people that you can do whatever you put your mind to, and it's about the power of the mind and your will. And it's not easy. And I see a lot of them. Hey, this is the era we live in. We live in an Instagram, instant great way of thinking, and not really knowing that the grind is real. There's no shine if you don't grind. You have to grind, and whatever that you do. I mean, you're in music. You understand. A lot of people are out there and they're super talented, but do they have the grind? Do they understand that there's times where you don't eat the way you want to eat? And as an entrepreneur, I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't. There's no breaks sometimes. When you're sitting there, and there's been times where I've come in and it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I started my haircuts, and I didn't stop until like 9:30, 10. I'm just eating little breakfast bars and energy drinks to stay to go through.
I don't know no barbers that's in their shop that long besides except for you, man. Like, I don't know no other barbers that you could come get a cut to at 6 o'clock in the morning. Explain, like, the early bird getting the worm and how important that is, man.
So my mentality is I always try to cater to the consumer, and the consumer needs availability. And the consumer needs availability and consistency. And another thing that I try to take pride on is my customer service. Um, and those are the things that have helped me along the way, and building great relationships with great people. That's key as well. But it's I took my work ethic from one my father, and for one watching different people in different industries, music industry, sports. The great ones are the first ones there and the last ones to go. And where I come from, that's where greatness begins. It's within you. There's no excuses. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people say, "Well, if I would have did it this way, I would have turned out this way." Well, you didn't. You didn't put the time in. You didn't put the effort in. You know, um, and we all have that inner, you know, drive. It's just what's going to spark it. You know, um, for me, it's just I want it better. I feel that I think everybody wants better. You just got to work. You got to find something. You got to find your niche and go hard at it. There's no getting around hard work. Whether you're in school, whether you're going to college, whether you're going to trade school, whether you're in the lab, anything. So
Interesting. So, would you say that the person that inspired you would be your father?
yeah, yeah. He passed away in '95, and he was a great man. And he came from Mississippi with nothing, and bringing his and helping bring his siblings up, and showing how somebody with very little education who got educated um, came up here, worked very hard, and put hours in and put time in, and provided a good platform, a good
Wow.
platform for me to um, understand that hard work does pay off, and that if you do work hard, it does, eventually you can get some of the things in life that God has allowed us to be exposed to.
Great to know. I did take a look at many websites and the information. That is true indeed. You get there nice and early, and I must say, I looked at your hours and I said
Yeah, it's
6
a little
a.m. to
crazy.
10
Yeah,
p.m. When
yeah,
is he home?
yeah. I know. Well,
I didn't even think I was gonna be able to get him in here today.
10 p.m.
at times, yeah.
Definitely your consumer is priority.
Well, I mean, you can't provide for your family unless if you're able to, expose yourself, and a lot of times we don't want to do the sacrifices, but we want the rewards. So, in my industry, and I thank God for these younger guys. One thing I am learning is, trying to work a little smarter, but not harder. But it's hard when you're an old dinosaur like me in the game. And I do admire the new guys and exposing me to a lot of new things. But I can truly say it was all just hard work for me to get to where I'm at.
We call them savvy shortcuts.
Yeah,
Savvy
yeah,
shortcuts.
yeah.
Jumping into that, I definitely want to dip into this Booski app.
Okay.
Not only because you use
Booksy?
it, Booksy, Booksy,
Yes.
Booksky.
Yes.
Being that so many, I've noticed, being
Mm,
that I'm not from upstate, I've noticed so many young entrepreneurs,
mm,
more barbers,
mm-hmm,
and they're learning from different people.
mm-hmm.
And I would like you to elaborate more on your experience with this app that I see that you can jump into and book an appointment.
Mm-hmm. The app is pretty good. I am not an expert on the app. And again, my experience with the app, if did correctly, you definitely can grow, fairly quickly in the industry. And that's just any of these apps, whether it's Booksy or Snip or, Cut, the Cut, I should say. All these apps are pretty good. Me personally, I'm an old school guy. I fight and battle, because I still, hey, you can text me, you can call me for an appointment. So I don't believe in just going with one lane. I like to diversify, and you know, and sometimes it can bite you back in your behind if you allow it to. Because I'm a person that believes that you have to give your client most of your attention, and sometimes the phone can be a distraction. It can be a
Yes.
help, but it can be a distraction.
Yes.
And sometimes people might book me. I'm not looking at my phone enough because I'm getting in the zone. I might have two people out there and, maybe one waiting, one just called, this and that. And so in my mind, and I've been doing a lot of stuff, like I said, old school, I've had it written down or, either, or it's in my brain.
Okay.
So it's difficult.
Shout out my man Ryan O'Shea. When I was trying to get my first haircut coming off of the pandemic, he told me you gotta book me through the app now.
Oh.
You know what I mean? We getting Hollywood over here with these apps, but man, whatever.
Well,
Gotta
you
be
know
good.
what? I don't blame people that are trying to structure,
Right.
because the one good thing when you do use the app correctly, you can kind of structure your life a little bit better,
Right.
So there's a lot of these guys, I can understand, creating a lifestyle that, working smarter, not harder. I get it, again, it's hard for me to pull away from, what got
Tradition.
me, well, tradition and what got me to where I'm at. So it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. There's times where do I fight it at times? Yeah. And then, hey, a lot of the new apps and new social media, it's geared towards fresh, new.
Right.
We want to try the new shiny quarter per
Right.
se. Um,
You are your own receptionist,
I am. I am.
secretary.
I am. We tried the receptionists up there, and at times, we just haven't found the right one. And I have control issues. So
Oh,
you
nice to
know,
know.
well, I mean, I rather just, my mother always says, tell the truth, shame the devil, and I got to work on certain things, as far as with me, and that's the one thing that I think, a lot of us, should do is work on your craft, but work on you, and the only person that you need to worry about besides your family and God is you. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, there's some things that I gotta work on. I'm not getting to where I need to get to because of me, you know. So
That's true.
Now, when you go in J. Allen Barbershop, you'll see a keyboard in the middle of the floor. A lot of people don't know that the boss plays that keyboard and that you're actually a dope musician. I've actually
I appreciate
collaborated
it.
with you on some things, and I've seen you in the churches playing them keyboards and them organs, man.
Oh,
And
okay.
where'd that come from?
Well, I was a church boy, and I grew up in church, and my mom and my father, they were musicians and singers in their own right, and you know, growing up, and downtown in St. John's, uh, Church of God in Christ, I adapted. I adapted, and it helped me, to be honest with you. If I was to do any studio work or whatever, a lot of my playing, a lot of my ad libs is off of just ear,
Hmm.
and that's just God given.
And you sing too, right?
I can hold a note.
I've heard y'all in the barbershop going off, man. Don't be
Oh,
modest, man.
wow.
I can hold a note there, brother Wiz. I can hold a note. Again, music is my first love, but barbering helped open the doors to a lot
Maybe
of
we need
things.
to get smart because I'm still broke over here while he driving a Bentley.
Oh. We're doing something wrong.
You guys are doing everything right. You know.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Is
Yeah.
there any other studio you would recommend right off the top of your head?
Uh, as far as music studio,
Barbering.
barber
Yeah,
studio.
yes.
Anybody else I would recommend? There's a lot of young
Yes.
wolves out here that are very good.
Yes.
Besides us, I'm gonna say this. I love Pete Rock's work. He does very good work. I love Marvy Marv's work. I love Will Abar's work. There's a lot of new guys out there that are, I love Lou's. I love the brothers at Distinguished Cuts. Um, when I look at the industry and how it has grown, I look at inspiration. I don't hate. I look at, is it competitive? It can be. That's anything. Um, but we all need each other.
We do.
Barbering is more than just cutting hair and trying to get money. It's a lifestyle. It's a ministry. Um, it's a way that you can bridge the gaps, and whether it's religion, politics, anything like that, and people can let their hair down. They can be themselves. We want them to be comfortable enough to be in that type of cipher. You know what I'm saying?
I have a question of curiosity.
Mm.
With the men, the wigs, the
Oh,
hair replacement,
male weaves, they call them.
male weaves.
Yes.
Would you be providing those services?
I myself do not do that, but I do know of a couple people that are very good at it.
Oh, wow.
One is my man DJ Ryan O'Shea is very good at male weaves.
Wow.
I personally, I can do it. I just don't do it. That's
Oh,
just not my lane. I like to stay in my lane, and maybe that's at times that's good, and sometimes it's not.
right.
It's like I got a guy who's very good at design work in my shop. He's to me one of the illest in the Capital District. His name is Earl, and we call him E3. And his mind, to do certain things, that's not my lane.
Right.
I can cut hair, but that's hair art. There's a couple people out here in the Capital District. That's what they do.
Right.
They're beautiful at it, and that's what it is. And I give them nothing but props. I know my lane. I'm not going to try something that I'm not strong at. I'm too old for that.
How entertaining is it to work in a barbershop? Because we know how instrumental. Like, you know, barbershops are important staples in the black community. It's a place where people go, you know, get some knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You might even, your barber might even be your damn psychologist. Like, you
At
guys
times.
got to sit in the chair and, you know, sit people in the chair and talk to them about things. Like, how interesting is it working in the barber shop and, you know, being in the space that you're in?
Well, I think it's a blessing, and it's an honor, because you get all types of people that come in, and that's what you want, you know, as a business. And I'm my own self business entity, so I'm my own brand. And so when I look at people, they're their own brand, whether they know it or not. And the key is, how can I have this brand comfortable and be able to tell other brands to come to me? And, you know, again, more than just cutting hair, is an experience. And I want you to be able to come in and get a great experience with me, not a negative experience. Have I done that all the time in my career? No. Do I strive for that? Yes.
What's the craziest thing you've heard in the barbershop, man?
Oh man, we can't say that in
Oh,
here,
okay.
man. You
Okay,
know
have
that.
have you cut any celebs here? Or have you met any celebs in the barbershop?
A while back, one of my cousins had brought in Clifton Powell, and this is a
Wow.
while back. Guy that played in Fridays,
Yep.
played in a lot of different movies. Me and Clifton, we became pretty good associates. Man, he's a good guy. It was funny. He was in the shop, and one of my cousins that came in, and he was getting a haircut, and he kept looking over. He's like, "Is that?" I said, "Well, Pinky." He was gonna say Pinky. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, that's his name ain't Pinky," but I said, "Yeah, that's Pinky." So, I've met a couple people here and there. You know, obviously in upstate, you know, it's kind of limited. It's not like in the city where that, you know, you ain't no telling in certain shops. You know, you go in, you might see anybody. So, you know, we're up in the sticks, bro. You know, ain't too many compared to like in the city. So.
Tell people how you give back to the community as a, you know, what's some of the ways that barbers give back to the community? I mean, you know, it might be a guy having a rough day and he ain't got it all. We know that's one example. I got you for this today, but
that's one. That's really nothing. What we tried to do before COVID, was, you know, once a year try to give away backpacks and free haircuts for the kids. You know, do a little cookout, feed the community. Community outreach is always key. Trying to collaborate with some of the, you know, religious leaders, as well as politicians, and see where we can help. You know, kind of help our community as far as structuring. You know, you know, the people need to be heard, and then sometimes, you know, we can be a great vessel in the barbershop for that, to kind of get everybody under the same roof, and hopefully come with some solutions, I should say. You know.
So the barbershop is really just like the nail salon for the guys.
Well, it is. It's like you know, for us, it's like a country club, I should say. You know, like I said, being able to sit there and talk about, you know, some of the things that we all deal with, and, you know, coming to, you know, where I'm at now as far as with barbering and business. You know, a lot of people, you know, I'm thankful to be in a position where that, hey, the power of the tongue is something fierce. And so whether I say something positive or whether I say something negative, it could be a great help, or it could be extremely detrimental to someone.
Right.
So I know that, and I try not to abuse that. And like I said, I work on me every day, because I have to.
one of my kudos I wanted to give you, you basically moved from the hood to now being in Colony, man. So many would say that's like moving on up. So what's the
Like
difference? Give me a little bit of the difference from being like, you know, closer to the hood and the urban community, and now being up in a space where it's not so urban.
Well, the demographics, obviously, they're a little different, and having conversations. People move differently out here,
Mhm.
out in Colony, rather than the hood. And I think that both parties can learn from each other. From what I see and what I and just having great conversations with both demographics. We can learn from each other. Obviously, you know, out here, their mindset as far as just life. Life is just their way of thinking. Is a little different. They spend their money a little different. It's like the hood. I love the hood. I love the hood because we make something out of nothing.
Culture.
It's our culture. It's a grit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes us who we are. Um, but we can also learn from getting a little bit more stable as far as fiscally. You know, from our different demographics.
Right.
We can learn how to, hey, education is key. Education is majorly key. Um, and just, hey, shaking hands with the right people because it's
Right.
not what you know, it's who you know. So, I've learned from both. I've gotten a lot from both. But, at the same time, we both can learn from each other. And it's really not much difference because at the end of the day, some people put a facade on, some people are real, whether you're in the hood or whether you're out here, and you just, yeah, I guess I love that situation. I do.
The diversity you learn from both ends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I I grew up. I moved out of the hood per se. Um, when I was 10, so I went to school out in the suburbs. So at first, was it a little culture shock? Absolutely,
Mm.
but it's something that is needed.
Yes.
I think diversity is reality, and sometimes if we don't have that in us, especially people of color, it's difficult for us to make any transitions because we have to think for other people, not just for ourselves.
I agree.
And I think that's the problem with the world. The world doesn't want to embrace diversity, even though it's there. A
Right.
fantasy is having everybody in the world looking like us, but it's not. Or everybody believing what we believe in. That's not us. That's not the world. It's not life. So if as soon as we're able to, all these hate groups and everything that we seeing going on, and we living in these type of times, and I wish that and sometimes that if we all just embrace the fact that we are different and learn from each other, I think that'd be a lot better, a lot different. you know
So, I want to ask you, how can someone inspired by you pursue barbering? What school would you suggest? What journey would you suggest to just even tap into that skill to succeed?
well, I mean, the perfect storm in that would be to have the right school and to work in a barbershop. um,
Okay.
Getting the technical skills in school is cool. But school will not teach you all different textures. It won't teach you about all different scenarios. So being in the right shop, which teaches you the business side, the actual hands-on, um, I think that's the best way to go. On top of having some school and having and at least taking a business course, online. You can do that now. I think that would be a great addition.
So, upstate, we have John Mitchell, I think, and we have Mildred.
Uh, Paul Mitchell.
Paul Mitchell. Thank you.
Mm.
Paul Mitchell, and we have Mildred
No, not anymore. Mitchell Ellie is non-existent right now. Austin. It used to be called
Austin.
Austin
Austin.
Beauty School. Yeah.
Austin Beauty School is no longer. Paul Mitchell is okay. And again, um, having a combination, because Paul Mitchell can teach you the ABCs. But the ABCs won't get you in certain scenarios.
Right.
So you need hands on, and you need to be in that atmosphere. You need to feel it.
That's definitely a field, a career where you need to listen.
Yes, yes,
You need to
and
definitely
you need to
listen.
communicate. You need to learn how to communicate. If you do not, then you'll fail.
Mm,
As soon as you think you made it, as far as in my industry, you fail.
mm,
You'll never. You gotta constantly look. I'm constantly looking, and I mean nowadays you got YouTube, you got Instagram, you got so many avenues to see, you know,
mhm.
great great barbers or hairstylists
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Instagram.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and it should humble you. It should. You are not that good, and that's what I realized. I'm not that good. I'm okay.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I am working on being better
Mm.
every day. I try to work and be better.
It's definitely an art. It
Oh,
is definitely an
it's
art.
an art. It's an experience. Like I said, you
Right.
know, being a barber or a hairstylist is an experience.
It amazes me how I see even one text adding another texture on top of another texture is
Hmm.
amazing.
Hmm. Hmm. And and you know, sometimes I forget. I'll start a haircut and then I forget how did I get there
Oh,
because I've done. You know, I've been doing it so long, so I'm like, oh, I'm there. It's over. You know, we've had a conversation. We have a good time, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're done. You know.
wow.
I gotta say, Jay, I definitely appreciate you because for those that when this episode does drop, you will see that J.A.B.S Barbershop has been the sponsor for Faces of 518 podcast, and I'm thankful because we didn't
Mhm.
even have an episode out yet. You
Right.
know what I mean? And you was willing to pass that money along to your brother, so I
Thank
could
you.
do what I had to do, man. So
Well,
I appreciate you didn't
well,
ask you. There was no numbers involved, like how much viewership I'm gonna get. Like you didn't ask no questions, man.
Wiz,
So I appreciate you for
not
that,
a
bro.
problem, man. You know me, man. I hear, you know, certain people, you know, we have a great relationship, you know, and you know, certain people they, you know, you told me, you asked me, oh, and I said, okay, not a problem, you know, and the problem is sometimes, you know, hey, I understand both sides. There's some people that, hey, I need to know the numbers. Sometimes it's not about numbers, bro. Sometimes you just gotta believe.
Mhm.
You just gotta believe.
Facts, man.
You got,
Thanks for believing in me, bro.
man, come on, man. I believe in us. I believe in us, bro, and that's what it's about. You know.
So with that being said, I gotta let y'all know that episode 3 is once again sponsored by J.A.B.S Barbershop, 1839 Central Ave. Could go there, get your haircuts, hot towels, shaves, facials. He's right up there on Central in Colony, near Vly Road and the plaza over there. Go check my boy out. He does his thing. That's why he's here on Faces 518 podcast.
Well, thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Um, America, what you got? You got a good question
Um,
for us?
no, I basically asked everything that I'm interested in, especially want to say thank you for answering questions of curiosity.
No.
You
uh,
know, the wigs and, just the the atmosphere, and it is like a nail salon. That's a place of comfort for our community.
right.
And
Right. And I appreciate the opportunity, guys. I do.
yeah.
And I you know, I'm humbled and very appreciative on this time and spending some time, you know, with good people. And that's what it's all about. Spending time with good people and you know, hey, sharing a little bit.
Yes.
Let me get one more jewel out of you. Like for the young, um, I guess young barbers that eventually wanna own their own businesses. Do you got any tips for them? Because I noticed we have a lot of black owned businesses
Right.
in Albany that are flourishing right now. But I
Right.
notice a lot of times we don't actually own the property to the buildings
No, I
that we run our businesses from. Can
and
you give us a jewel about that?
I think, you know, because God knows I wish I would have did that earlier. Own is great. But if you're a barber first starting out, you know, you gotta crawl before you walk before you run. So try to get as much knowledge if you're under a good tutelage, um, under your master barber.
Mm.
Ask as many questions, learn the craft. Don't be so quick to jump from shop to shop. Um, because sometimes you can definitely hinder your progress. You can kind of, cut yourself at the knees because you didn't give time, what I'm saying, an opportunity to learn. You didn't give that. Sometimes, that's what you need is the time to learn, to mature. My mother always used to say, keep on living. And she's right. You got to keep on living, because you don't know what might come out of that. If you're so quick to, uh, leave on emotions and whatnot and not, give that opportunity, yourself opportunity to grow and the business and be an asset to the business. Don't take away from the business. It's not all about you. The greatest businesses that I know of have been ran through a team concept. Learn to get along with somebody, understand their growth, understand, what I'm saying, your assets and your liabilities within yourself and the people that you're working around. So, you know, teamwork means the dream work. Everybody has a whole bunch of different sayings, but it's the truth. I can't do what I have done if I didn't have a team. Whether I was at True Images, whether I was at Bricks, or whether I'm at J.A.B.S. It's all family based.
Right.
Um, do you get frustrated at times? Sure, we all do. But you know, you got to stick it out. Don't be so quick to run. And I see that with a lot of our youth. They're so quick to run. They're so quick to blame. And the greatness comes from people. Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do,
Hmm.
and that's to get up, do what you got to do. Don't complain. Why are you crying about it? You shake it off. You got to sit there. You got to sometimes reboot. A lot of times with 2020, it's all about rebooting. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Reboot, reform, restructure. So if you're able to have that mindset and get through this and stay rooted in the storm, there's nothing that you can't do, especially being a person of color. There's nothing we can't do.
Wow. That was a great jewel, man. Listen, Jay, we appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you.
Hopefully, man, we'll have you come back someday and maybe we'll be talking about the third or fourth barbershop. You know what I mean?
I,
Because I know a brother like you, you going to expand.
well, not right now. I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna start investing more time with my family. I think as my boy Kobe used to say, God rest his soul, Mamba out. Sometimes certain times there's certain reasons and certain seasons. So sometimes you got to fall back. You got to fall back. There's only so much money you can make. There's only so much that Sometimes you got to just sit back. And I'm not saying I'm totally done, but you know, hard work, dedication, that's cool. Balance is priceless. So if you're able to find balance in life, you got it.
And we going to end this episode on that jewel, man. Shout out to all my peoples that tuned in to Faces of 518 podcast. We will be back next week. Shout out to Soul Albany for always looking out for us. And shout out to my co-host America Ray, my man Tyler on the boards.
Yes, yes,
We out of here. Peace.
Peace.
yes.